You got
There we
it.
go. Okay, awesome. All right, everybody. Hello. So good to see you. I know that some of you know each other, and I know I've got some new faces on here. So just wanted to introduce myself if I haven't had the pleasure of getting to meet you yet. My name is Colleen Matthews. I am married to my husband, Evan, a little over 16 years in July. And we have four beautiful kids. Garrett is 14, Meredith is 13, Kerrigan is 9, and Molly is 8. So we have one boy and then three girls, and life is very full. So we are an active duty military family. We currently reside in Northern Alabama in the Huntsville area. And we are set to retire from military life next year, which is pretty crazy. So shout out to all my military spouses, or if you're affiliated in the military anyway, it is a special place in my heart. So I'm so happy you're here. I have been studying personal development and leadership for decades. I have been in it since I was a little girl. It first took its form in a bossy kindergartner. Can you imagine that? And that's how I started. So if you have any bossy daughters, just that there is hope for you. Okay, there is hope for you. They may turn out and use those skills later on down the road. But it turned into, from bossiness as a child, I learned how to harness some of those principles and those emotions, and I've been able to turn it into a wonderful being able to teach and minister to women. And now it is my joy and my privilege and my honor to be able to do this on a regular basis. And I want to give you a little insight into that story. So like I said, for decades, through growing up, high school, I was in leadership classes, college, led women's ministries, and then graduated college, was, a young mom, did coordinating MOPS groups, all of those things. I just loved being able to teach and minister and lead women. And then in 2022, I had two very large health scares. In April of that year, I found through a series of doctor's appointments that I was functioning with only a third of the blood in my body that I was supposed to have. I could have died on my next cycle and didn't know it. I got asked, "Are you tired?" Like, I have four kids. Yes, I'm always tired. Okay. So that was my first. I had a surgery to correct that. And then in July of that same year, so just a couple months later, I landed myself in the Huntsville Hospital in the neurological ICU floor. For 5 days, they didn't know what was wrong with me. And then I was diagnosed with a condition called RCVS, which basically means that the blood vessels in my brain were constricting and stopping the blood flow, which caused what they call thunderclap headaches, which are similar medical emergencies like a stroke or a brain bleed. So as you can imagine, this was very traumatic and put me in a place of pausing and caused me to decide if what I was doing with my life was where I needed to be, if where I was serving was where I needed to serve, if where I was giving was where I needed to give. And ultimately, I felt the call on my Lord, call from the Lord on my life to really harness the personal development and leadership love and hobby that I had for so long and turn that into a career. So in August of 2022, I certified with the John Maxwell team as a coach, trainer, facilitator, and I can assess behavior. And it is, you guys, when I tell you that joy radiates in me when I get to do these kinds of trainings and coach and lead and train women, it is just fundamentally inside me. It is a gift, and I say that from a place of humility. It is something that I know that the Lord just has given me to do, and I believe that it changes lives. I believe personal development and leadership changes lives when it is filtered through Him. And so I wanted to give you that little insight, kind of catch you up to speed, give you a little background on who I am. And then I just wanted to talk about personal growth. This is why we're here today, right? For the next couple minutes together, this time that you have so preciously set aside to listen to me or watch or be here together with all of us. Personal growth and why is it necessary? So if I said the word potential to you, I want you to think about what kinds of feelings that invokes. We're all women. So how does that word, if I said that you have potential, or if you tell your kids that they have potential, what kind of feelings does that invoke in you? You can write in the chat. It may create feelings of optimism, of hope, of fulfillment, of possibilities, maybe even a twinge of greatness, right? Like potential, you could be great at something, right? Those are all words that we associate with potential. But if I said the words to you, unfulfilled potential, how does that sit? Those are very different feelings, right? Those are very different. Unfulfilled potential almost feels like a loss, right? Florence Litterer wrote a book called Silver Boxes. And in that, she tells the story of her father, who was an aspiring musician, but he never pursued it professionally. He would sing around the house at home, and he would play instruments at home, and he would do it at home, but he always had that kind of drive or that dream to be a professional musician and bring his music to the world. And he never pursued it. And he died. And she talks about how he died with the music inside of him. And that's how I liken unfulfilled potential, is that you would die with the music still inside of you. And this is why I am so passionate about personal development and personal growth. Only 5% of the general public invest in personal development and growth on a daily basis. Only 5%, you guys. So first of all, hand clap to all of you. You are in the top 5% of the general public for even being here today and investing in yourself in this way. But what is crazy about that is that there is so much potential in each of us that is not being used. And I'm even going to give you a statistic later that will blow your mind. So to reach your potential, you must grow. And to grow, you must have a plan, right? Because growth does not happen automatically. You have to be intentional on developing your attitude, learning your strengths, tapping into your passions, learning your purpose, developing your skills, all of those things that you probably are doing, maybe even not knowing that you're doing them on purpose. All of those things are personal development and growth. So even if you haven't attached that label to it, that's essentially what you're doing. So for example, if you are wanting to know your purpose, and we're going to get into this a little bit today, but if you are wanting to know, you know what, why are you here? Why did God create you? What is your purpose in life? What are you meant to be doing? What did he create you to do, right? If you want to know your purpose, you're going to want to grow in your self-awareness. If you want to just be a better human, you're going to grow in your character. If you want to advance your career, you're going to be growing in your skill sets. If you want to be a better spouse or a better parent, you're going to grow in your relationships. If you want to reach your financial goals, you're going to be growing in how money works and how it functions for you. If you want to enrich your soul, you're going to be growing spiritually and in your relationship with the Lord. So any of these realms, and there's a bazillion more, but those are just some practical ones for you. Any of those are going to be personal development and growth. So I want to start with this quote: you cannot change your life until you change something every single day. Okay. You cannot change your life until you change something you do every single day. And that may seem like a little intimidating, but I promise you, I'm going to give you steps to do that so that it's not overwhelming. Okay. So today I want to go over 3 very effective personal growth strategies. Okay. These are going to be semi-high level. Okay. We're going to go into some brain work with it, but we're not going to dive too much into it because I'm going to share something exciting with you guys later. But I'm going to give you 3 of my kind of, I wouldn't say they're my favorite ones, but they're definitely ones that I utilize every single day in almost all areas of my life. Okay. And because I'm a total personal development nerd and I love alliteration and I love remembering things a certain way, I'm going to give you 3 C's today. So each one of these character traits or personal growth strategies are going to start with a C. Okay. So the first one is cognizance. The second one is consistency. And the third one is capacity. Okay, so cognizance, consistency, and capacity. And I would venture to say that these 3 things are things that you also deal with or consider on a daily basis in all areas of your life. Okay, and then I'm going to share with you my personal #1 way to feel successful at the end of the day. Don't we all want to feel successful, right? Like at the end of the day, you want to sit down, you want to take a deep breath, and you want to say, I got it done. Like it happened. I made it happen. Like it's been a good day, right? Like, don't we all mostly want to feel that way at the end of a day? And then I'm going to share with you an exciting announcement at the end of our time together. Okay. You guys ready to dive in? I haven't scared you too much, right? You ready to go? Okay, all right, I'm getting some smiles, some thumbs up. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to talk about cognizance first. Okay, this is just a fancy definition or a fancy word for awareness. Okay, but I needed a C. Okay, it should have been awareness, but I needed a C, so I use it cognizance. So this is just awareness. Okay, so this is just an awareness, a realization, a perception. This is just things that you're noticing, right? This is your awareness of where you are, the strategy of being aware. Like that's pretty simple, right? You wouldn't even think that was probably a personal growth strategy. But if you don't know where you are now, you can't decide where you want to go later, right? You can't, if you don't know what's happening in your life now, if you don't take inventory of your life, you can't know where you want to go. Okay, so that's how we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk a little bit about where you're starting right now. Okay, where you're starting. So most people fall into three categories in where you're starting. Okay, so people who don't know what they want to do. You may be fresh out of a transition. You may be having just moved. Your kids may have just gone back to school. You may have had a kid just go to college. You may be in a new job. Any of these things could fluctuate how you see your current world, right? How could things be changed? You may not know what you want to do or like where you are right now. It can be like maybe you're just settling into a new routine, right? So that's number one. Number two is people who know what they would like to do, but don't. Okay, so there's the catch, right? There's the catch. So the second group of people is people who know what they want to do, but aren't doing it. Okay, so we're going to get into maybe why you're not doing that. And then the third category of people is people who know what they want to do and do. Okay, so people who know what they want to do and do. So you don't have to raise your hand or type in the chat, but just consider which group of people do you think that you fall in right now? Are you trying to figure out, like, are you taking inventory? Like, are you actively doing that right now? Or maybe you know your next steps and where you want to go, but you're not doing it yet. Or maybe you know what the next steps are and you're actively pursuing that. Okay, so where do you fall in there? So psychotherapist Nathaniel Branden says, the first step towards change is awareness, and the second step is acceptance. Okay, the first step is awareness, the second step is acceptance. So not only do we have to be aware of our surroundings, aware of our current life, aware of like what we're doing, how we're spending our time on an average basis, but we also have to be in acceptance of that, because if we don't accept it, we're never going to be able to move forward, right? So just like in forgiveness, until you can forgive, you cannot move forward. Just like until you can accept where you are, you cannot move forward. And this can be kind of tricky sometimes. If you really you have, this is like a deep dive. This is a little bit, can be emotional, because you have to look and take inventory of your life, accept where you are to be able to move forward into where you want to go. Okay. So if you're not driving, I just want you to close your eyes for just a second. I want you to close your eyes. Don't do it if you're driving or if you're listening and you can't do that. But if you can, close your eyes for just a second. And I want to just picture where you are. Okay, picture your house or picture your workspace. Picture your kids when you sent them off to school this morning, or picture what you ate for breakfast this morning, or your workout that you did. Picture what you have going on this afternoon, what your Labor Day plans are later on this weekend, who you're going to see. Just picture your life right now, how your house feels. Okay. Now keep your eyes closed, and I want you to picture where you want to be in 5 years. Okay. Now I want you to picture, are your kids still going to school? If they are, what do they look like? What does your house look like? Does that feel different to you? What did you eat for breakfast? Was it different than the Fruit Loops that you popped this morning? Are you eating a little bit healthier? What are your Labor Day plans this weekend? Maybe you're going to get to go away with your husband because you don't have kids at home anymore. Where in your life does it look different, and how does it look different, and how does that make you feel 5 years from now? Okay, I want you to open your eyes, and I'm going to give you this quote by Darren Hardy. He's the former publisher of Success Magazine, and I'm going to read this to you. The first step towards change is awareness. If you want to get from where you are to where you want to be, you have to start by becoming aware of the choices that led you away from your desired destination. Become very conscious of every choice you make today so that you can begin to make smarter choices moving forward. Okay, so I really want you to take inventory of that quote, okay? Because where you are now is ultimately the product of the choices that you have made. Now, circumstantially, some circumstances may be because of choices other people have made for you or to you. But for most cases, where you are now and the life you have created now are from the choices that you have made. So when you think about your future self in 5 years, I want you to consider starting today to make the choices that are going to change you to become the person that you want to be in 5 years. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 action steps to get started with moving towards that. Okay, so we're still in cognizance. Okay, we're in cognizance, our awareness, our acceptance, and then action. So action is your first step. Okay, action is your first step. So the step I can give you with action is that I want you to journal at some point, either after this call, this weekend, preferably sometime soon, because this will but I want you to journal where you are now and just kind of what you were just considering, right? What was in your mind? What was in your brain? I saw some of you with your eyes closed, you were smiling, you were obviously thinking of good things, right? Where you are now, and that's great, okay? And then I want you to journal a second prompt and where you saw yourself in 5 years. Because that was obviously very different. I still saw some smiles, which is also great indicators, but it will look different in 5 years. This doesn't have to be fancy. I'm not calling out for like any, spreadsheet, fancy Canva. I don't even do Canva, you guys. Like, just bullet it out in a journal, okay? Where you are now and then where you see yourself in 5 years, okay? I want you to journal that out. And then I want you to pick one small thing to change every day that you can commit to. So for example, if you wanted to, let's just say, cut down on your sugar intake, right? We could all probably do that on some level. I know that I could. So if I want to do that, if I drink 2 cups of coffee, maybe I decide to not put sugar in one of them. Okay. That would be really hard for me, but I could do it because I'm a big girl. Okay. Maybe you decide if you're going to cut back your sugar, just that's one thing I could commit to. And it's very small. Okay. Don't try and instead, like, I'm cutting sugar out completely. I'm never eating a dessert again. And Labor Day weekend's coming. And I'm going to make Colleen's Not Your Mama's banana pudding that I put in Happy Meal. Okay. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to make one small tweak, just one small tweak, because that's going to create momentum, which will then put you on this trajectory towards your future self. So one small thing, you're going to journal where you are today, yourself in 5 years, and one small commitment that you could commit to every single day, one small tweak just to move you towards that person. Okay. Number 2 is accountability. You're going to tell somebody, okay? You're going to either tell somebody or you're going to keep yourself accountable. Now, I prefer to do accountability in groups, in community, because I think there's so much more power in that. You're actually 95% more likely to accomplish your goals when other people know about them. Okay. So all of you dreamers out there that are like, I have this thing that I want to do, but I'm just a little bit like, I don't want to tell anybody because I don't know if it's going to happen. Go tell somebody, okay? Share it with somebody trusted. You don't have to go post it on social media, but tell a spouse, tell a best friend, tell a sister, tell a mom, tell a trusted friend, somebody that has value in your life that can encourage you, okay? Either keep yourself accountable with somebody else or with yourself. And if you are doing it yourself, that looks like writing it down every day. A piece of paper, a graph paper, a calendar, however it looks like for you, putting it in your notes and physically writing it down. August 28th, I did not put sugar in my first cup of coffee. August 29th, I did not put sugar in my first cup of coffee. August 31st, I did not put sugar in my first cup of coffee. September 1st, I put sugar in my first cup of coffee, okay? Because when you are forced to write it down, I promise it will change your behavior, okay? When you are committed to yourself that way, it will change your behavior, okay? All right, so number 3, so we talked about action and accountability. The third one is attraction, okay? And this is just, if you want to be with growing people, you have to be a growing person, okay? You are one of the 6 people that you are most around all the time. So that doesn't necessarily mean physical, that means who you are talking to. So if you work from home and you're on Zoom or chats or whatever, the 6 most people that you are in contact with the most are the 6 most people you're going to become. So if you are with really negative, unhealthy, boring, not wanting to learn people, that's who you're going to become. If you want to have a full, strengthened, happy, fulfilling life, you're going to want to seek out those people that are also doing those things. And so if you see other people growing, naturally, you're going to be gravitated towards that, right? So if people see you growing, they're naturally going to be gravitated towards that. And if they're not, it's not worth having them in your life. Okay. Just let me give you permission for that. Okay. All right. So momentum fuels momentum. All right. So that's cognizance. It's awareness of where you are, where you're going. Okay. And then we're going to take those action steps to make sure that that happens. Now, coaching, when you hear me talk about coaching, that's exactly what coaching is. A coach is somebody who helps you go from here to there. Okay. And that's why I dove into the coaching career, because unlike counseling, which there is absolutely a place for counseling and therapy, but most of the time, traditionally, counseling and therapy deal with the past, where coaching deals with the future. And that is what gets my heart excited, because I want to see women come into their potential, be who God created them to be, and own those strengths. Because how beautiful of a world is it when we're all functioning in the gifts and the talents that the Lord has given us? Okay, so that's cognizance. Number 2 is consistency. So this is our second growth strategy. Okay, consistency. So the definition of consistency is the steadfast adherence to the same principles. Steadfast adherence to the same principles. Now, you guys, I'm a total words person, okay? And so I love definitions. I love synonyms, antonyms. Give me, like, this whole, we just moved into this house, and this whole wall back here is going to end up being a word wall, because I love words, okay? And I love this definition of consistency, because the word steadfast to me is so trustworthy, is so solid, is so respected. And the word principles is another word for values. So when I think of a consistent person, I think of someone who is trustworthy and solid, who has values. And isn't that the person that we want to strive to be? We want that consistency in our lives. We want to show that to other people. We want to value that ourselves, okay? So consistency is the second growth strategy. So within consistency, I want to talk about 2 sisters, okay? We're going to talk about motivation and discipline, okay? Motivation and discipline. And now, most likely you like one of these over the other, okay? Most likely you love motivation and not discipline, okay? Because typically most people think of discipline in a very negative connotation, right? Like discipline, we discipline our kids. We have to be self-disciplined. Discipline feels hard, right? But motivation feels fun. You listen to a podcast or a song or a playlist, or somebody giving you like a motivational speech, a TED talk, any of that motivation, and it gets you moving and grooving and going towards the things. And then you get to discipline and you're like, I got to be disciplined. Okay. But I'm going to show you how they can work in synergy together. Okay. So motivation gets you going, and discipline keeps you growing. Okay. So motivation keeps you going, and discipline keeps you growing. So if you have motivation, discipline is not a problem, right? If you have motivation, you're going to be doing the things. If you had motivation to work out in the morning, then you're going to work out. That's part of your disciplinary process. It's just going to happen, right? If you're motivated to get in the Word every day, then it's going to happen, because you love that time with the Lord, and your discipline kind of takes care of itself. Now, if you're not motivated to do something, discipline is way harder, because you're having to pull it out from somewhere to get it going. How many of us have laid in bed and just thought in the morning, I'm just not motivated to do today? It is so hard. I don't have anything to look forward to. Today is not fun. I have all these work things to do. Like, Jesus, just please send me a donut. Like, I just need something to keep me going, right? Okay. So we know those motivational struggles, right? So the problem with motivation is that your why is not strong enough for why you want to do something. Okay. That's why you're not disciplined in a specific area of your life. Okay. Hard truth there. Hard truth. Okay. And again, I say this all the time when I do coaching, is that I would not teach you guys something if I have not lived it myself. Okay. I'm coming and teaching and giving this to you from a place of having worked through this myself in the past and still working on it right now. Okay. So if your why is not big enough, then you will not have the motivation. So I'm going to give you a couple of questions, 7 questions. I'm going to run through these really quick to know if your why is strong enough. So what I want you to do is think about somewhere you don't feel motivated, but it's an area that you know you want to work on. So maybe it's your physical health. Maybe that's just an area you're not motivated, but you want to be motivated. Okay. Maybe it is your time with the Lord. Maybe it's being like a more fun parent. I deal with that all the time. I'm like, I'm not a fun parent. I need to do more fun things. Okay. Maybe it is, maybe it's being more focused at work. Maybe at work, you kind of check out and you're just not present there. Maybe it's at the end of the day and your husband's trying to tell you something and you just like want to watch your show. Like maybe it's just communication, right? Like any of these whys, okay, we're going to figure out why it's not strong enough. So these are to know, these questions are going to be to know if your why is not strong enough. So one is if you constantly procrastinate on important tasks. If you're procrastinating, then that probably means your why is not strong enough in that area. Do you require coaxing to do small things? Do you need somebody in your ear being like, come on, Lindsay, let's go. You could do it. Let's go. Come on, Lindsay. Do you need somebody? I'm looking at Lindsay right now. Do you need somebody in your ear all the time, kind of pumping you up and saying, come on, let's go. Let's do this. Let's go. Are you having to find it from somebody else? Okay. Number 3, do you perform duties just to get by? Like, are you sliding into home base? Like, I did it. I'm, wash my hands of this, done it. I don't really know how well it was done, but it's done. And I'm moving on with my life. Okay. Just to get by. Okay. Number 4, do you constantly talk negative about your work or about whatever subject that is? If you're constantly talking negative about your job or your communication or why something's so dang hard, or, it's just, that like, and you guys know, right? We know when we get in our head and we're nagging ourselves about things that's just hard and it feels gross and you're just like, why can't I get it together? Okay, this negative talk that's like circulating all the time over one area, that's your negative talk, okay? So is that happening in your brain? Do efforts of friends or family to encourage you, do they irritate you instead of encourage you? This is a hard one, and I'm going to drop a story here in a second about that one specifically. Number 6, do you do small projects and then abandon them? Like, do you think, okay, if I can get motivated, if I can like meal prep on Sunday, then maybe I'll eat healthy during the week. So you go out to Target and you buy your containers, and then you get home, and then Sunday rolls around and you go to church and you get home and you're like, you know what? That couch looks really good right now. I'm just going to go sit on the couch. Meal planning, I'll do it next week. I'll just, so you had that desire to start, and maybe you started a project and then you abandoned it because comfort got in the way. Okay. And then number 7, do you avoid self-improvement opportunities? Okay. Do you like it? And you don't have to do show of hands, but I'm so dang proud of each one of you that is on here live or rewatching or listening to this. But like, was there some part of you that was like, do I get on this call or do I do XYZ? Okay. Do I really need the personal development? Do I really need Colleen in my ear, like telling me all the things that I could do better about my life? Like, do I really want that right now? Like, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you know the right road, right? You get on the path and you're like, I know that it would be healthy if I just put my running shoes on right now and went out for a walk. Like, that would be really smart. I could listen to this podcast, but I have all these other things to do, right? So I want to tell you a story really quick. So this actually exactly happened to me last week. So we just moved into a new home. We've had a lot of transition over the past 2 months. We've had just a lot going on, and prepping for this masterclass and for my announcement I'm going to share with you later. My plate was full. We have 4 kids. They just started school a couple weeks ago. It's just a lot. Extracurriculars have started back up. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? We're all on the same page here. Okay. So this is kind of how I was feeling. And Friday morning I woke up and I just had this sense of like, I've got to do all these things, but all I want to do is go get a Starbucks and go to Home Goods and walk the aisles. That's all I want to do. But I knew I had to do the things. And my husband, my sweet husband, said to me, why don't you just like go for a run? And I turned to him with devil-piercing eyes and laser beams flying out of my pupils towards his precious face. Like, what did you just say to me? Now, let me tell you something about my husband. he is a huge proponent, much like me in like man version, about personal development. Loves it, coaches it. It's just like his thing. And his focus really is on like the psychotherapy, brain health, mental health part. He's very science minded. And he has done so much work and study on how the brain works and how personal development and growth affect the brain, and also how physical activity affects the brain. And that's the last thing that's on my list, ladies. That is the last thing on my list. I would love to say I am your CrossFit champion. I am not. If you want to go to the Mexican restaurant and get chips and a margarita, I am your girl. Do not ask me to go to CrossFit, okay? But this is the thing. My husband knew for my mental health that day that I needed to get outside and move my body, okay? But I did these things. His efforts to encourage me, that question number 5, it irritated me. So you know what I did? I did what every good wife would do. He left, I put my shoes on, and I went out and proved him wrong. And I went on my walk because I wanted to let him know that I could go out and do the things, even if I didn't want to do them, okay? So sometimes personal growth and resilience works in ways that you don't even see coming, and you do almost without even thinking about, okay? So when your why is strong enough, even if it's negative sometimes, my why was negative when I went out and did it, but that why created that motivation. And I got done and I sent him a text and I said, honey, I'm so glad that you encouraged me to do that, okay? I'm mad at you. Like, I'm like, I was like mad. I was real mad at you, but I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for how you pour into my life and you take care of me in this way and you challenge me to do things even if I don't want to do them in that moment. So your why creates the motivation, which then with that sister of discipline. So you see how when your why is strong, it creates the motivation you need for the discipline that happens regularly to produce the consistent results. So you see how all of that lines up together to get you to that consistent person, that steadfast adherence to the same principles in whatever area of life that you want to be consistent at, that you want to be steadfast at, that you want to be valued in. All of those principles, those things are what's going to move you from that place you are now to your future place. Okay. Now, number 3, we're going to jump into the number 3 growth strategy, which is capacity. Okay. Now I saved this one for last because we're all at max capacity. Okay. The world tells us, culture tells us that if we are busy, that it is a badge of honor. When you get to say that you're busy, that means that you must have so many things to do and so many people to see and so many accolades, and the world and culture just prizes busyness. Why? That's my question. Okay, why are we prizing busyness? Why do we want to be busy? I don't want to be busy. I want my life to be full of intention. I want to be doing things that mean something to other people, to my family, to my kids. I want to be doing things of value, okay? I do not want to be busy, okay? Busy needs to be retracted from your vocabulary. Try it. It's really hard. When people ask you how you are, it's hard not to say, oh, I've just been so busy. You know, it almost comes out like, how are you? I'm fine. It's a natural thing that we say. Instead of saying that, try saying, my life is really full, but it's really great. Or even harder, try saying, my life is really full, and actually I could use some prayer in some of these areas. Okay, these are the types of things that we need to be talking to each other about. Okay, don't float on the top of the water, ladies. Okay, there's so much more value and depth within each one of us. And when we float on the top of the water, we don't get to the meat of who we are, right? We don't get to who we're created to be. Okay, so let's talk about capacity for a second. In 1977, Nike had a slogan, an advertisement that said, there is no finish line. 1977, there is no finish line. Okay, so first of all, I'll get a little backstory. We are a Nike family, okay? It is pretty much against the rules of our household to wear any other type of athletic brand except Nike, okay? If you saw my teenage son today, he's like a walking billboard, okay? But it's because my husband went to University of Oregon. We are a huge Duck family. I have adopted it, even though I went to a small college in Western North Carolina. I loved my college, had a great college experience, but I am a Duck now. I envelop it. We have our first game Saturday, go Ducks. Okay, anyways. So Phil Knight was founder of Nike, and he has funded so many programs at University of Oregon. And so Nike, if you've not seen the Nike documentary, I highly suggest it. There's a lot of language, so that's my caveat there. So if language is hard for you, maybe not a great flick, but there's so much goodness to that Nike movie. But I love this slogan, there is no finish line, because I really truly believe that that is the definition of great personal growth. We as human beings are never going to get to a point where we can say we're finished, we are complete, we are perfect, we've got it all together, because guess what? We're not Jesus. Okay, that will never happen this side of heaven. And so we are on this earth to, well, first bring glorify to God, but then also give value to other people. Okay, and so within that, what we want to be doing is figuring out what we're created for. Okay, so if we're figuring out what we're created for, which, you know, we talked a little bit about when we talked about cognizance and our awareness, right? But we think about the no finish line. Okay, so if we're always working to get better, then isn't that what we want to be doing with personal development? We're always increasing our skills. We're inviting the fruits of the Spirit. We're becoming more like Jesus. These are the things that we want to be doing, right? So get this quote. Okay, I'm just going to drop this right here, and go ahead and plan to pick your jaws up off the floor. Most experts say that people typically only use 10% of their potential. You guys, if you have 100% potential, most people only use 10% of it. Okay, just let that sit in for a second. You have so much to offer and so much to give. And it's likely that you're only using 10%, maybe less at this point. Now, some of you may be using more, which phenomenal, great. Like, that's why we're here. Okay, like there's most of you are probably have some semblance of that, especially if you know me, right? But obviously, a lot of times we also know that we are at capacity. How many times do we find ourselves saying that? Like my kids have this kind of famous thing or in our house where they'll say, I'm done. And it's because they hear me say that. Like, get to the end of the night, I'm like, guys, I'm done. Like, quit arguing, quit fighting, like quit wrestling, quit throwing dirty socks at each other, you know, quit throwing food. Like, and all that happened like last night. just I'm done, right? You just get to that max capacity. Okay, so let's talk about capacity for a second. The definition of capacity is the maximum amount that something can contain or produce. Contain or produce. Okay, so I'm going to show you my little coffee mug here. Okay, my sweet mama is on this call. She gave me this coffee mug for my birthday. This is an Ember mug. If I filled this coffee mug all the way up to the top right here, it will be at capacity. Okay, if I fill it over, it's going to spill. It's going to make a mess. It's not good, right? Nothing is good when it's over capacity, right? But not only is it what it can contain, it's what it can produce. So if what I'm doing on a daily basis is not producing good things, I'm not, or anything at all, then I'm not working within my capacity. Okay, and capacity has become such a trendy word, right? Like, I'm at capacity. It's not in my capacity. Okay, but this is what I want to challenge you with before you go throwing out that phrase, I'm at capacity, or it's not in my capacity, because I think sometimes we can use that as an excuse. Sometimes we can use that as an excuse that we're at capacity if it's something that we don't want to do. Okay, but this is what I want to give you. This question as what I want to offer you. Are you prioritizing effort over effectiveness? So are you doing a lot of things over doing the right things? This is how we find out if we're within our capacity. Okay, are we doing the right things, or are we doing a lot of things? Okay, so these are the 3 questions I want you to ask yourself to know if you're doing the right things. Okay, what am I required to do? You guys, there's things that all of us have to do every single day that we're just required to do, right? We're moms, we're wives, we're housekeepers, we're launderers, we mow the grass, we do all these things. We own businesses, we go to work. There's things that we have to do to keep our lives running, right? So we're required to do stuff, but oftentimes we add in all these other stuff, all these other things, right? You're going to be a room mom. You're going to go to PTA. You're going to serve at church. You're going to teach Sunday school. You're going to offer to bring this new family with a new baby a meal. You're gonna whatever the things are that you're adding onto your plate outside of what you're required to do. Okay, so you've got these two kind of bowls, right? The things you're required to do and all these other things that you've added in. Okay, so these two questions: what gives you the greatest return? Okay, so the return is probably something physical. So like if you're going to work or you're working from home, you're probably going to earn a paycheck. That's your return, right? You're getting a return on that, which is great because that means you can pay your bills, you can do fun things with your family, you can tithe, you can give, all of these things. Like that's a return, right? The second one is what gives you the greatest reward? So oftentimes that is more emotional, it's more spiritual, it's more internal, it's more heart and soul centered. Okay, so when you think about the things that you are required to do and the things that you have added into your life, all of these things, okay, so the things you're required to do, you really can't change much about those except how you do them. But what I want to focus on here is all these extra things you're adding into your life. If they are not giving you a return or a reward, they have no place in your life. They are not the right things. I'm giving you the permission to say no to them. Even if it's for a season, okay? I'm not saying you have to say no forever, but it might not be the right time right now to be giving that because you don't want to be producing out of your capacity because it's not healthy. It's not giving your best self, your best yes. Okay? So 3 quick ways to increase your capacity. Okay? Stop doing the things that you have done before and start doing the things that you should do or could do. Okay, sometimes we get on this hamster wheel and we're like, this is working, so we're going to keep doing this, and I'm not going to look left or right because this is working and I'm on a train and I'm just going to keep going and this is how it's going. And we don't learn anything that way. We don't expand our capacity. We're not growing because we're not trying new things, okay? And so we want to expand our comfort zone. Picasso said, I am always doing that which I cannot do in order to learn how to do it. What if Picasso said, I don't know how to create the brush strokes to do facial features? What if he just decided that he was on his painting hamster wheel and he didn't want to do faces? And so on the Sistine Chapel, all of the angels were faceless. Okay, what if that? Then the Sistine Chapel would look really weird, probably pretty dumb, and we wouldn't like it. It wouldn't be the beautiful way it could be because Picasso didn't learn the things outside of the way he was used to doing things. Does that make sense? So even if it's working, I mean, you guys know that adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And there's a place and a time for that. But I'm talking about in areas of where you want to grow and you want to go from where you are now to where you want to be, those places, you need to try new things. You need to expand your comfort zone and grow out of that. Okay, number 2, stop doing what is expected and start doing more than expected. Okay, now this is going to hit a hot point with some of you, but I'm going to say the word striving, okay? And I know some of you have creepy crawlies going up your arms right now because nobody likes that word, okay? It's the same connotation as discipline, but there is a place for striving, okay? And it's when you're striving for excellence, okay? All about stopping what you're doing and doing more than what's expected is increasing your standards of excellence. Okay, I'm not saying you need to do this in all areas of your life because you'll burn out. Okay, when you are striving in your own will, in your own efforts, in your own being, it will fall flat. You will burn out. You will stop. It will feel hard. You will feel resistance. It will be bad. But when you are striving to serve others, give value to others, bring joy to others, when you are striving for excellence in how you show up to the world and to people and in other people's lives, that is where your standards of excellence grow. Okay, Jack Welch, former General Electric CEO, said, get out of the pile. Average people are going to keep you average. Average people are going to keep you average. Again, going back to that 6 people, who are those 6 people in your life? If they are average people that have a certain personality that are not willing to grow or move or be or expand, then you need to widen your circle or get another circle. Okay. And number 3, stop doing important things occasionally. Stop doing important things occasionally and start doing them daily. Okay. So if you're doing non-important things every day, all it does for you is it wastes your time. How many of us have been scrolling on our phones on Instagram or social media or through the news or something, and we scroll and we look up and it's like 30 minutes later? Like, what just happened? Was there a time warp? What's going on? Okay. If we're spending our time doing just important things occasionally, then that means that we're broadening the time of the things that we're doing that are not important daily. Does that make sense? You guys following me here? Okay. So those important things, how you want to serve others, bring value to others, use your gifts, use your talents. And this doesn't have to be big and splashy, you guys. This just can be something that you know that you're gifted in, that you know you do well. This could be sending an encouraging text. This could be shooting, somebody a $10, Starbucks gift card. This could be picking up the phone, heaven forbid, and actually calling somebody. Okay, you could do any of these things. These are just simple things that you can do. And these are important things because they have to do with people. Okay, so both components are necessary. You need to be doing important things daily. Okay, don't keep the important things for sometimes. Do the important things daily. Okay, so those are the 3 ways to increase your capacity so that you are giving as much value as you can in the capacity that you have and you're able to produce. All right. So you guys, that was like, 3 big growth strategies, high person overview, right? We talked about cognizance, which is just your awareness, recognizing and accepting where you are, where you want to go, and your intentional daily growth plan. If you don't have one of those, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Consistency. This is your whys. This is your whys that are going to create your motivation, that creates your discipline, that makes you consistent so that you see results. Okay, this makes you that valued and that principled person. Okay, and then the third one is capacity. We want to expand our capacity, increase the rate that we're doing important things on the daily and those effective things that mean something to other people, because those things expand our life. Okay. Now, I promised I would share my number 1 secret to a successful life. Now, it is no secret that I love Jesus and I'm a believer, and I filter everything that I coach and I teach through a biblical lens. Okay. So while this may be a unconventional, which happens to be my word of the year, an unconventional motto or way of doing things, this is how I deem a successful day. Okay, 3 things. 1 is love God. 2 is love people. And 3 is lead people. Love God, love people, lead people. If I can lay my head down at night and I can say that I love God, that I was in his word, that I was talking to him that day, that he was a part of my life, that I loved people, that I was with people, that I encouraged people, that I was like doing things with people, that I love people well, even the tricky people, ladies, even the tricky people. Okay. If I loved people well, and then if I led people. Okay. Now, some of you might be sitting there saying, well, I don't lead, Colleen. I don't lead a team at work. I don't lead, a team. Let me offer you something. If you have little people in your life, or by little, I just mean like children. If you have children in your life, you're a leader. Okay, because John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If you are influencing people, then you are leading them. Now, whether that's good or bad, I can't tell you that. Hopefully it's good. Okay, but you are leading people on some level. Okay, if you told somebody to go eat at this restaurant or buy that product on Amazon or go see a certain movie or whatever, and they did that, you led them to do that. Okay. You are a leader. So I would in fact say to consider, make sure that you are leading people well. because that is part of who you are. That is part of your sphere of influence, whether or not it's little people or big people or, work people or church people or any kind of people. You are leading people and you need to own that. That's a gift. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you my super exciting announcement. Over the past, decades that I've been doing personal development, somewhere where I've seen a gap is that there are lots of great communities, but I have yet to really come across a community that focuses on personal growth. And what I mean by that is there are great communities that you can join, like subscription communities where you learn about network marketing, or you learn about how to run a marathon, or you learn about how to do macros, or you learn about how to read the Bible in a year. There's all these different communities that you can be a part of, right? But I really haven't found at least the type of community that I have always hoped for, which is a community where personal development and leadership is a key component, where I'm daily being encouraged and expanding my personal growth, where I'm actively working on things alongside other women, where we can challenge each other and encourage each other and grow together towards being that future person and using that other 90% potential that we may not be using yet. So I have founded and created a community. It is called Rally Legacy Leadership. Rally Legacy Leadership. Rally comes from, is inspired by Hebrews 12:1, which talks about casting off all hindrances and running the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus. And rally is another word for race. Rally is also a bounce back from something hard. Rally is a place that people come together, and rally is something that you do together and be excited about. Okay. And so this is why I'm calling it Rally, because I believe in all of these things. And the purpose of Rally is to help expand your personal growth. It's a women-only community to expand your personal growth, learn how to excel as a wife, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, or whatever work role that you have, and encourage you in community with like-minded women who are doing the same thing. Okay, this is all about doing it together. Okay, so many of us I know have been in communities where we feel supported and encouraged, and sometimes those communities, for whatever reason, are either taken away or they've shifted or the season changes. And I want this to be a community that doesn't end, that doesn't go away. And with the Lord's blessing, it won't. Okay, this is a community where you can grow in that personal growth and development. You can be encouraged by other women. We're going to talk about things such as boundaries, communication, relationships, time management, which is work-life balance, confidence, health and wellness, self-care, resiliency, emotional health, financial literacy. All of these topics are personal growth topics. These are all very common taproot points that women deal with on a daily basis. And how amazing would it be if we were in a community together, rallying alongside each other and doing it together to be the best that we could be and acting in how God created us to be. Okay, so essentially this will have 4 parts. So this is a ongoing membership community. It's we're starting it in a Facebook group. So it's a private Facebook group that you will have access to. There's going to be 4 parts to it. So every Tuesday, I will go and coach live. So it will be much like this, but it'll be shorter. It'll only be about 30-ish to 40 minutes of coaching or teaching. And then there will be about 20 minutes of live coaching. So you can ask questions, you can come with a challenge, you can come, it's just live coaching that I can offer. And that will be on Tuesdays, the same time every Tuesday. For the fall, so it starts next week, September 3rd. For the fall, I'm going to be going through John Maxwell's 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Okay, and this will take us through December 17th. And this, if you have not read this book, this is a foundational personal growth book. Actually, the 3 that I taught about today were from here. Okay. And they were, again, high level. So we'll go into more detail this fall with them. But every week I'm going to be talking about a different law of personal growth. And so it won't be as much information. It'll be like one law a little bit of a deep dive, and then how to apply it. So that'll be a live coaching component on Tuesday. There will be motivation. Woo! Who doesn't love motivation? Okay. So your motivation will come to you on Mondays. It'll come in the form of a post or a GIF or something like that. That will hopefully get you started, get you happy. And then on Wednesdays, we're going to rally with joy. You guys, I always like to start my coaching with joy, because I believe when you're in a place of joy, it expands your mind to accept even hard truths, to be able to move forward in whatever God's calling you in your life that day and the days to follow. And then we're going to have thought leader insights on Thursday. So that's just where, with all of my knowledge, all of my personal development, the multiple books and resources that I have, I will bring in other experts on that specific topic from that week to on that Thursday, to kind of give you a more encompassing view or another view on that topic. And then on Fridays, there's going to be community questions and conversation. So this is a place where you can ask these questions to your spouse. You can talk amongst each other. You can invite the challenges and keeping each other, holding each other accountable and potential, and all of those things together through the weekend before we start another law the next week. So this will be ongoing. So once we finish December 17th, then we will start again. We'll break for 2 weeks for Christmas and the holidays. There will still be content in there, but then we will start with another process depending on where I feel is going to be the most beneficial for the group, and we will keep going. So this is a monthly community that I hope you guys are excited about as I am. I really believe that God has big plans for this, and he's really going to bless the women that really chase after how he has created them to be, the gifts that he's given them, and where he wants them to use them in the future. And I really believe doing it in community is so sweet. You guys, if you've never been in small group coaching, or you've never been in a community like this where people are just for you and they're encouraging and they're praying for you and they're excited for you, this is where you need to be. So Christy just dropped the link to join. You can go ahead and join right away, or you can save this link. I'm going to send this recording out to your email, and that you will also receive the link to join Rally right away in that email. But make sure you get in before next Tuesday, because Tuesday will be the first live coaching on the first law. Okay, so make sure you get in before next week. So you've got a long weekend to do that. My last request to you guys is, if you enjoyed today, if you got something, if you took away a nugget, please share. Please share with your friends. Please share on social media. If you feel like Rally is a place where you know you can grow and be supported and encouraged and loved on. Oh, and I forgot to say, we're also going to be doing retreats. I can't believe I even forgot to say that. Bringing people together in person is one of my most favorite things I ever get to do in this whole entire world. And I'm going to, if you were part of the Rally community, you're going to be able to go on long weekend retreats where we get to come together. We get to do personal development together and just be with each other. And it's going to be incredible, you guys. So make sure that you get into Rally by next week. Okay. So get into Rally next week. Please share with whoever you feel, if this was worth your hour, you can share this Zoom call with them. Would love for you to be a part. And as always, I'm here for you, whatever you need. Please follow me on Instagram or send me an email. Let me know your thoughts from today's Zoom. And I love you guys. Thank you for spending your hour with me. I appreciate it. I know you could be in so many other places, and I'm just so honored and full of joy that you spent your time with me. So go out, change the world. You guys are incredible, and I can't wait to see you in Rally. Bye, guys.